guys, it's Jacob. Today we're going to be making some breakfast ramen. Here's all the ingredients that you need: bacon, eggs, and a pack of ramen. You can also use other ingredients to make the flavor different if you want. For example, sometimes I put oregano leaves or seasoning salt with no MSG into my ramen to make it taste different. With that out of the way, let's get started. The first thing that you're going to want to do is get a pot and boil some water in it. If you're like me and use a smaller pot, you're going to want to put in barely enough water. This will stop the noodles from causing the water to overflow and spilling out onto your glass stove convection top, which then leaves a black mark that you can't get off, and you're constantly reminded of your cooking failures. As you can see, now the water is boiling. So what you want to do now is dump your noodles in there, and also the flavor packets too. Once you do this, it'll take a second for the noodles to soften up. While the noodles are boiling, you should start heating up a pan so that you can start frying your bacon. Now that your ramen has fully boiled, use a fork to fish the pork rinds out because they're no longer useful. You can then actually just dispose of these in the trash can. When you strain your noodles, you want to actually leave just a little bit of water in, and that reason will become very clear right now. Stick your noodles back on the heat. Actually, don't do that. Take an egg and crack it into the noodles. Doing it with one hand is a technique that I'm yet to master, so don't do it like me is the only advice I can give. Then what you want to do is put it back on the heat and take your fork and just stir it up as quickly as you can. And what this will do is it'll poach the egg with the heat. This will cause a sort of solidified, sort of not solidified egg that actually mixes in with your ramen very nicely. You want to continue to stir it because otherwise your noodles will start to stick to the bottom of the pot, and then you're just missing out on noodles. Once your noodles are of the specified and or desired density, take them off the heat and set them aside. Take a break from them. Sometimes it's better to remove yourself from toxic relationships for a while. It's commonplace when you take a break from your loving relationship to go for something that's not as good for you but just looks better. In this case, bacon will be our stand-in, but Jessica, you know who you are. You're going to want to lay it on there, and I understand that the top of that has folded, so before you say anything in the comments, I just want you to know, I really don't give a shit. Then once you finish cooking the bacon off camera, because you deemed cooking bacon on camera too dangerous, even though we both know it's just because you can't record and cook at the same time because you're bad at making videos, you're going to want to cut it up into pieces. Now that you've cut the bacon up off camera, because you're equally as bad at cutting as you are at making videos, you're going to want to take the chunks and just dump them right into the pot. Get any stragglers. Then you're going to want to mix it up into your mixture, which you may or may not need 2 hands for, depending on how long you've allowed the ramen mixture to sit. Then you want to leave a mess and not clean it up, because you live with your grandma and you know she'll do it. Afterwards, take your pepper and you really don't need salt with ramen noodles. You're basically just boiling salt as it is. So what you want to do is come and get your oregano leaves that I mentioned earlier. And sprinkle just a couple of these bad boys in there. A few goes a long way when it comes to oregano. And if you put too much in there, then you'll find yourself like me, unable to actually screw back on the lid because you're an actual infant. Something interesting I want to note here. My egg mixture is still too thick to enjoyably eat. While this occurrence would normally make it so that I was late to work for the 3rd time within a month, so I got fired, which then takes away my monthly income and requires me to lie to my friends and family, saying I'll pay them back as soon as I can, but the truth is that I'm just on an endless cycle of borrowing money that I'll never be able to pay back and just keep hurting the people I love. In this case though, it's good for the video so that I can show you a solution. All you need to do is dump some olive oil in there or any other cooking oil. What this will do is it'll loosen the individual noodles and allow for a more pleasurable eating experience. Now, since I'm a college student and my life has lost meaning, I'm going to go ahead and eat it out of the pot. However, if you have finished your degree or just skipped college and are having a good time with your life, feel free to pour it into a bowl or several bowls to share with your friends. I hope that this video has helped you more than it helped me, which it should have, because I already know how to make breakfast ramen before the video started. Don't bother clicking on the channel to see more videos like this, because none of our videos are like this.